Tube, what's up? Welcome to Low Guido's Chop Shop, the second best Gel-Buster channel on the tubes. And a little while ago, I wandered into tactical edge hobbies, and it happened to be the day that these things first hit the shelves. And I picked one up and I held it in my hands, and I was like, I want to at least do a review on these things. And at the time, they were $590, and I think they still are $590, and I could not justify spending that amount on a blaster at the time. But I thought it'd be a good idea to pick one of these up secondhand. And I say that because I want to do a review on this, but I don't know that I can do it justice based on what is here in front of me, which is something that I picked up secondhand, which I thought was a good idea at the time, and now I'm probably thinking I probably should have just gone and bought one from Azrael's or Tactical Edge. Nonetheless, what I can run through with you is all of the beautiful features of this blaster. It is, for starters, when you pick it up, it is heavy. It's mostly metal. Metal here, metal there, metal gearbox, metal buffer tube, flared magwells, tactical flared magwells, metal barrel, metal gas tube. The foregrip is nylon, the pistol grip is nylon, and the buttstock is nylon. Metal buffer tube, plastic mag. But for the main part of it, most of everything here is metal, and it feels nice. Like, everything about this feels nice. The charging handle, the fire select, and note also, this is one of the things I really like about this, the fire select. You can, with your hand on the pistol grip, you can easily select the fire select, which is not like regular AKs. Also, with the mag release on this particular model, if you're into those tactical reloads where you've got the second mag ready to go in and you just want to drop that first mag out and slam the second one in with minimal time between reloads, generally on the AK you'd have to use that thumb thing, so that'd mean you'd have to take that out and then put the new one in. Here we've got the mag release is just below the trigger guard there. So again, with your finger in the trigger guard here, you can just boom, drop that mag out, new one in, and a couple of features that I just love about this AK. I probably should have just bought one from the shop, but nonetheless, let's delve into this. You know, it'll be a journey. We can all go on together. So let's start tearing this thing down. Alright, firstly this stock's got to come off because it hurts me to look at it. It's a nice healthy metallic sound as I manhandle it on the bench. There is a battery wire in the buffer tube there. It's terminated with a mini Tamiya connector, which I think is pretty standard on these things. The upper releases here. You can view the box. Hey, this is nice. This is worth looking at. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. Can you see this here? So this is the blowback feature in the gearbox. So when the piston comes back, it drives this back, which pulls that back. That will reciprocate with the shot. That's quite cool. Probably going to remove that right now for the teardown. Bar and spring, and this here will need to be released. It's something so that the charging handle can come forward. There we go. Now this button can probably come off now. There we go. And that charging handle, it is retained in a little slot down the side there, but it is essentially free to come off now once I get in there with the rest of it. Alright. I think I might just get this out of the way here. Just for convenience. You can see the fuse in here. 20 amp fuse. Alright, so up top here, pop this upper off. Interestingly enough, there's a battery connector in the front there as well. I don't know if battery connector in the front there. I assume you can run a battery in this part here. It's quite small. You could probably fit 18650 type batteries in there, but yes. Got a little pin here. Grub screw at the front, slide this forward. Oh, that was tight. Alright, now we can see the outer barrel. As you can see, all metal. You can see the inner barrel there too, looks like stainless perhaps. Let's take a look. Get these two screws here out. 3 I guess, 6 if you include the 3 on the other side. Hopefully once I get these off, I'll be able to get that charging handle assembly out of the way. Look at that. The whole outer assembly comes away. Let's put that aside. Now, at the business end, we've got the barrel and T-piece here. I'm going to take a look at that while I've got this apart here. Looks like sort of a T-piece retainer there. Ah, looks like the T-piece is actually screwed on to the gearbox there. So I'll release the screw at the bottom here. Access the motor. See the motor there? Is that Evolution Edge. Huh. How ironic. Get the Edge. Alright, so I will take off this fire select switch. That's a 7mm socket, by the way, for those playing at home. Now this will come out, and the whole gearbox and assembly comes out. And this is even this empty receiver has still got some weight to it. Feels nice. Now what do we got in here? It's a V3 type gearbox, and it is interesting that it's got 2 battery connectors. What does it mean? Does it mean you get the choice of having a battery up front and a battery or a battery at back, or do you need both, or do you go one or the other? Interesting. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Alright, I'm going to take that screw out the front here, which will release the barrel. I'm just going to take some measurements of the barrel while I'm here. Might as well, that's what we're here for, right? So it looks like 40 centimeter barrel. It's 40 to the T. 40 centimeters. Internal diameter. .5. Alright. It's a nice bit of gear. That seems... is that thicker than regular? 9.66 outer diameter. So yeah, it's about what most, so it's like 0.1 of a mil, give or take. Alright. This gearbox, it feels... let's get rid of that fire selector before it falls on the ground. Feels heavy. It's obviously got metal gears inside it. I like that nozzle. Got a nice big nozzle on it. Let's have a look inside, shall we? First we're going to release the spring. Ding 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 ding. There it is. The spring, which I assume is standard, if anything I was told was true. Alright, let's take a look inside. Get the motor cage out. Alright, I wonder if I can release these wires. Although, it's probably just easier to disconnect them from the bottom of the motor. In this case. Alright, with these V3, version 3 type gearboxes, they have this wire thing on the top. This metal plate that holds the top of the gearbox together, it also holds the wires on the side, and the best way to get it off is to vice, grip the gearbox in a vice, and sort of tap it off with a hammer and a screwdriver. But seeing as I don't have a vice on my bench top in front of the camera, I'm going to show you the way to most likely lose a finger. This is how we do it. There we go. Don't do what Donnie Don't does. Alright, now that we've got that, we can access the top of the gearbox, get the wiring loom kind of out of the way, and we'll be able to take this apart. We'll need to undo this bit of the fire select that transfers the select from one side to the other through the back of the gearbox. Quite an ingenious little linkage, actually. I like it. Kind of reminds me of the ambidextrous linkages on some blasters, but it's just the way it is here. Alright, let's get in it. Let's get in it. Already taken the spring out, so should be no surprises for us here. Should just be opening the gearbox and everything should be sweet. It's a solid looking gearbox. I can't tell by looking at it what the grade of alloy is that's used, but it feels solid. It looks like it's a cast alloy, not CNC'd or anything. And then there's this little plastic piece here that basically stops grease from flicking out onto the back of your trigger. Alright, let's pop this open if we can and see what we can see. Is there something? Ah, right, okay. The terminal block has a screw in the front there. Get that one. There's always another screw. Okay, hopefully that will remain on the other side. Excellent. Alright, now we'll split this box and see what's inside it. Alright. Looks pretty nice there. Now that's interesting. So it's got metal gears, but it's only got half a metal rack on the piston there. Alright, so yeah, there we go. It's got half a metal rack, which I guess the most important teeth are these ones. But nylon always bothers me. I'm going to clean this up and have a look at it, see what it's actually like. So you can see it's got hardened metal gears there, a half metal rack, which I'm not particularly fond of, but I don't have any full metal racks to put in there anyway, so too bad for me. And it's got that lovely AK trigger that no one wants to ever take out of the box ever, because it's a pain to get back in. Other than that, everything in there looks pretty solid. Looks in reasonably good condition. It's got a sector delay chip, which I'm generally not a fan of, but if it's been designed to run a sector delay chip, then it is what it is. It's been designed to run it. There's shims. There's shims, which is better than no shims. Means that someone cared enough to put at least a shim in there. Yeah, I'm not gonna do too much in here because I mean there's not much for me to do really. Probably the only thing I would do is I would probably replace that plunger with an all metal rack, if I had one, but I don't, so I can't do that. But other than that, it looks like a fairly solid setup here. I don't think there's going to be too much of an issue running the standard spring with this, and I'm assuming that this is a standard spring. I was told it was. I was told a lot of things, I guess. Alright, I think let's put this thing back together and see if we can get it chooching. While I'm chucking this back together, it's probably worth noting the little mechanism here. That's the blowback. So that reciprocates with the plunger, and your charging handle rocks on there and back and forth. It's a nice little setup. It's cute, I like it. Gets the job done. And it gives that kind of realistic action of the AK, which I kind of like. Some people like. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but I'll tell you what I kind of like. If you take out the motor cage screws and the barrel holding screw, and I guess we're not counting the mag terminal screw, there's 3 screws holding this together, and of course the metal plate which goes on the top, which, I mean, from a checking point of view, I like it because it means I get the box easier, get into it easier and quicker, but it obviously works. It's obviously strong enough to hold it together, so hey, cool, whatevs. While I'm here, I want to check the tolerances on a $590 gearbox. What's the shimming like? Three, 5. So there's a good 0.3 of a millimeter of slop in this bevel gear. Let me just get you down in there. Hopefully you can see this. Maybe. I probably want to throw another shim in there. Just a 0.2. It's quite a bit of slop. The other ones, the other gears are all okay. It's just that bevel. Alright, I'm gonna get this one back together, and I whacked another shim in there. I whacked another 0.2 in that bevel because it was a little too sloppy for my liking. Other than that, pretty sweet. Like, in terms of standard gearboxes, it's up there with one of the best I've seen. Like, that comes standard with that caveat. One thing I'd really like, one thing everyone would really like, metal rack, full 100% metal rack. Why we got nylon racks? Why are we still doing that? Either way, let's get this thing put back together and see if she chooches. Interestingly enough, there's no reason why she shouldn't. I just didn't know which way to connect the battery because the wiring was funky and it was all silver and I didn't have a clue. As you guys may or may not know, with all of my reviews and everything that I do, I don't read the manual, I don't believe the hype, I don't read what they're saying on the internet, I haven't seen the propaganda, I don't know anything until I open it and see it, and I see what I see. That is how I do things. Yeah. So, I will pop this back together, and through the magic of video editing, you won't have to watch it all. Alright, she's all back together now, and we're here to answer the question, does she chooch? She sure does. Semi, that was fully, sorry, semi. Alright. Time to load her up and see what your chrono's like. Alright, time for the chrono test. Here we go. Now keeping in mind that I didn't actually change anything inside this, so this is still stock. 330, 327, 320, 330, 313, 327, 366. That might have been an anomaly, but 330s is definitely the average, which makes it a very, very staunch performer. So even in its slightly used condition, still I think the most powerful out-of-box blaster I've ever had across my desk. So it's powerful, it's nice and weighty, it's got a good feel to it. It's not perfect, there's a couple of little things that could probably improve, like the gear, the rack, the metal rack, and the shimming maybe spend a little bit more time on. But this thing is pretty fantastic, like performance wise, out of the box. Is it worth 590 bucks? I'm gonna go out there and say I think it is, because when you take into consideration all the metal parts and the metal gearbox, the mostly metal gears, like if you were to spend the money on buying the parts and building a blaster yourself, you'd end up more than 500, to be honest. And I think it's one of those things, kind of like the P1. It's like everyone looks at the P1 and goes, oh, it's an expensive pile of crap, until they own one, and then they're like, this is awesome. And I think this is one of those situations where it's like, you can look at this and go, wow, that's an expensive blaster. But then when you have it in your hands, even this, you know, slightly loved version that I got here, it is pretty spectacular. Like, I mean, I'm pretty critical of most blasters, I guess, but I like this. I think it's actually, dare I say, I think it's actually a little too powerful. I think the field limit, most fields is 300, so you'd probably want to back it off a little bit, wind it back a bit, maybe spring it down, get a slightly softer spring in there. I don't even know what the spring is that was in there. I did measure it, but I don't know what actual. I think it's like maybe an M100. I'm going to say M100. I think it's an M100. It certainly performs like an M100. And yeah, hey, I like it. It's got my tick of approval. And that's it from me. Don't forget to buy me a coffee. And if you're after a patch, hit me up on the face page for a patch. Until next time, peeps, see you out on the battlefield. Peace.